It's a way of life, it's a struggle sometimes, but even dark nights see the light, just open your eyes. If you can look beyond the filth, reading all the lies, raise your head up high and aim for the sky. If you could dream it, you can live it. It might take a few times, but the only people...
Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is your host, Saul Maldonado, better known as Stubborn for Life to many of you. We're here once again with Urban Melody TV with another great exclusive interview. The multi-talented Juanita from Three Amigos, Rosalina from La Bamba,
yes.
Yolanda from American Me,
or Conchita, Juanita, Rosita, Maria,
etc., etc. I mean, her resume is impressive. The
Thank
great
you.
Multi-talented Dyana
Nice
Ortelli.
to meet you, Saul.
Thank you.
Un placer.
Thank you, first of all, for sitting down with me. I know you have a busy schedule. I see you on that group that we're on in Facebook and just
Yes.
your post.
Yes, I'm busy posting on Facebook. Doing shameless self-promotion, that's what we do.
Right? So, but I did see your resume and
Thank
it trails back to, I think it was what, 1987 or something like that?
My first official job in Hollywood was Zoot Suit, which was the groundbreaking Chicano play that I think we are still very proud of. There had never been anything like that before, and look at all the people that came from Zoot Suit: Edward James Olmos, Tony Plana, Mike Gomez, and we're all good friends to this day. Sal Lopez, Evelina Fernandez. It's
Right.
amazing. It's yeah.
So it's actually a great movie that I enjoy.
Yes, I was not in the movie. I was in the play, and then I actually left town for a couple of years. So I did not have an opportunity to audition for the movie, but the play was a phenomenal experience, I have to say.
Now, what got you into acting?
It was my dream since probably I was 10 years old. My earliest role model that I can remember was Audrey Hepburn. I used to love watching Audrey Hepburn movies, but always since I was a little girl watching TV, I had that dream, and I grew up in a border town. I was born in Nuevo Laredo, Tamaulipas, and then we moved to Laredo, Texas. Not a lot of opportunities for acting there, but I was actually very fortunate. I went to the University of Texas, and one day I happened to see a sign in the radio, TV, film department, and they were auditioning for a children's show, Carrascolendas. So I got my feet wet at a very early age, still as a teen, and then I met people that were brave enough to come to Hollywood, and so I said, why not? I'll do the same thing, and I came out here to pursue my dream.
Nice.
Yeah,
Now,
I did theater in high school. I always did theater. I always had the love for acting since very, very young.
and you've done a lot. You've done TV, you've done movies, you've done commercials, you do a lot of voiceover as well.
I do it all, and stand-up comedy. So
I saw that as
print. I don't know what's left. I don't sing, and I'm not a musician. I don't play any instrument that we can talk about.
All right. So, how challenging has it been as a Latina in the industry?
Very challenging. Very, very challenging. At the beginning, it was the frustration. It took me a while. I mentioned that my role model was Audrey Hepburn. So I come into Hollywood thinking that I'm going to play these glamorous, beautiful roles. Never crossed my mind that Hollywood has these things called stereotypes.
Right.
So my very first meeting with an agent, I actually had permed my hair and it was kind of reddish, and I remember she said, was your hair an accident or was it supposed to look that way? Actually, it did look like an accident. It was a very bad perm. But then she said something to me like, if you want to play those Latino roles, Hispanic, because at the time everything was Hispanic, you have to wear your hair black, straight, and parted in the middle. And I went, oh. And it took a while for it to click, to dawn on me. And then the next thing I know, I'm auditioning for drug dealers, hookers, gang members, and I'm like, I don't remember Audrey Hepburn doing these kinds of roles. Zoot Suit, granted, I played a chola, But to me, that was stretching. You know, I come from going to a private Catholic school. I was a good, you know, little girl from private Catholic school. And here I am playing a hardcore chola. That was acting. I thought there would be other roles, not that I would always be going out for this tough chola.
Right.
To the point that now everybody thinks I'm from East LA and I was a chola. Sorry, but not.
Right. Have those challenges continued in Hollywood? Are those stereotypes still there?
The stereotypes are still there. I think there have been some positive changes throughout the years. I mean, we have had television series. I can recall Jimmy Smith's Martin Sheen on where they playing presidents, where they play attorneys.
Right.
Isai Morales played an attorney. Edward James Olmos. We've definitely had our positive role models.
Right.
I think for women it's harder. I find, you know, we're now talking close to or 30 years after Zoot Suit.
Right.
Most of my auditions will still be the housekeeper, the nanny.
Maid.
Yeah, the
Right.
maid, the nanny, and I go, this is unbelievable.
Right.
I really thought, I still have a blouse that I saved, because I remember when David Kelly had, Ally McBeal, and there was no Latina attorney. And I would push and push, no, and if you're, I don't know if you remember that series, but they had every nationality represented. White, black, Asian, Jewish, everything except a Latina attorney. And that's what I find a lot on TV.
Right.
It's always the Latino that's missing.
Now, we already, you know, put a dent in the political arena.
Yes,
We already
fortunately.
know, you know, the politicians already took notice. Without the Latino vote,
That's
you're
right.
not going to get into office.
That's right.
How can we do that in Hollywood? And I say that because right now, for example, we have that whole little, you know, commotion going on with Ben Affleck playing a Latino.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
How can
Controversy.
Right. How can we make that dent in Hollywood where we don't have someone else playing our roles?
It's complicated. Definitely, we need to be in the positions of power. Until we have our Latino producers, very, very important, our Latino writers, so that these stories are written authentically. But I also think it's important to speak out, because apparently Hollywood,
They're not taking notice.
they're not taking notice, and some people have mentioned that it's benign neglect. It's not malicious, like, let's not use any Latinos in the project. They're just not aware. We are now 1 out of 6 Americans in this country. And I say Americans because what I see is that they continue to perceive us as undocumented, Spanish-speaking foreigners.
Right.
Why do they, ABC and Disney are teaming up to give us our own channels? But why are we not included in American channels? Why is there no Latina on The View? There's no Latina on The Talk. We are just not part of mainstream conversation. It's like, no. We need to do our own projects. I think it has to be both.
Right.
I think we can do a talk show with all Latino women like we're doing, Hola LA. But there is no reason why we should not have Latinos and Latinas be part of mainstream conversation.
You know, we were talking about this. We're part of a group that we're the English-speaking Latinos. When
Exactly.
no one's marketing to us.
Right.
You know, for example, my parents will watch Spanish television.
Yes.
I speak Spanish, but when I turn on the English television, I don't see, you know, the Latinos on there.
Right.
So I have seen a few independent movie directors and stuff like that out there, but it seems that they follow the same stereotypes. I've seen a lot of these independent movies where a lot of it has to do with gangs. And, you know, they try to say, well, we're just bringing awareness to what goes on in the barrio. But it's like, after thousands of people shot and killed in the barrio, I think America already took notice of that lifestyle, which isn't that bad as it used to be.
Right.
So how can we make that transition from saying, okay, enough, we already portrayed that, we already did a lot of movies, and we also already played those roles in movies.
Yes.
Now it's time for the Latino superhero.
Yes.
We need another machete.
I think we need to see Latino attorneys, Latino doctors, Latino professionals, and again, reinforce that we are English-speaking Latinos. Can you tell? We're speaking English, we're communicating. I actually said to somebody recently at one of those Hollywood events, well, they asked me, it's like, so what are you working on? And I go, oh, well, we have a talk show with Latinas. Well, I'm not going to see that. Flat out said to me.
Because they assume it's probably going to be Spanish.
Because I don't speak Spanish. And I go, and why would you think that it's in Spanish? Right. What language am I speaking to you? And it's mind-boggling to me. I think, again, it's going back to doing our own projects. Right. And I don't have a problem with these gang movies if they're authentic. The problem is balance. Right. Authenticity and balance. Those are, for me, two key words. You can do the gang movies, but let's show the movies where we have the, the white collar, assimilated, educated Americans.
The teachers, the doctors, the lawyers,
the
business owners.
And like you said, we consume English-speaking television, especially the younger generation. I have a son, and the joke in the house, he wouldn't watch any Spanish TV. It was like, your punishment is you're going to sit 1 hour in front of the TV and watch Telemundo. No, mommy, please, no.
So what message can you send to those directors, whether they are Latino or whether they're white or black, those directors, those producers out there, what message can you send them, so we can finally be noticed the same way we've made that notification in the political arena? How can we do it in Hollywood?
Well, I think we have very few, very limited Latino representation. So we should be very aware to make that the best representation possible. So again, don't reinforce the criminals and the gangbangers and, lawbreakers. Balance.
What I find interesting about Hollywood is I've gone to auditions where they say we need a gang member, based on shaved head, tattoos, and all that. But they expect me to act a certain way where I'm thinking, wait a minute, I lived the lifestyle. Even when I did live that lifestyle, we don't act that way.
Right.
They expect us to do certain things where we're like, wait, that's a stereotype of a gang member itself.
Right.
So I'll be honest, I stopped auditioning to those things. Because I'm thinking, I'm not going to play something that it's not even based on real life either, because we don't carry ourselves as such. So they're misrepresenting even the gang members.
Absolutely.
So, there's a lot of Latinos that are really trying to get in the movie industry, whether it's commercials, voiceover. Mm-hmm. What's your best advice to them?
Get an agent. It's difficult, and the industry has changed a lot. Mm-hmm. Technology has in some way helped us and in some way hindered us, because now there's a lot more accessibility. Anybody without experience, without ever having done a play or auditioning, can submit themselves online for some of these castings. But if you're serious about it, you need an agent, you need good representation, and you need to remember that it is show business. So you can be rehearsing as many monologues as you want at home, but if you're not getting out there, if you don't have an agent representing you, take the classes, do theater. It's a lot of work, and be a professional, respond to those messages, show up to your auditions on time. Get your demo reels. A lot of agents will not even look at you if you don't have a demo reel. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of work. You have to be persistent. You have to, you have to do the work.
Right. Now, I know because of the industry that you're in, you've been a little frustrated. Has there ever been a time where you're like, you know what, forget entertainment industry, I'm just going to go work for corporate? Or if you've never thought of that, what has kept you focused on your career?
Nobody else wants me. No, one of the youngest girl from our talk show said to me, because even she, who is very young, she says, I'm very frustrated. I thought that I would have gotten further along in my career by now. And I do feel in many ways when I was starting out, I think there were more Latino projects. I mean, I was auditioning constantly, and we had La Bamba, Three Amigos, Born in East LA, American Me, I don't see those movies now. I
Right.
honestly think we had more product back then. As much as we complain about the gang movies,
Right.
blood in, blood out, I think there was more work. But she asked me recently, how do you just keep going? And number one, I could not do a corporate job. I am very diversified because, like you mentioned, I do voiceovers, I do commercials, occasionally print, and then of course I do theater. So I do keep busy, and sometimes if I'm just very tired, I've had too many callbacks, too many avails, but not the bookings. The minute I get an audition, you just keep doing it. You just keep doing it. I don't care how tired I am. I don't care if I have a cold like I do today. That is my job.
Right.
So I can't say I'm too tired today. I don't feel like doing it. Just go.
Is that a general message for anyone trying to get into any industry, whether it's
Persistence.
a doctor?
I figured the day that I say, you know what, I'm not going to go out on it, then it'll be a second and third and a fourth time that I go, I'm done or I'm finished. You better make a definite decision. But that's why I go, I'm really tired today or I'm not in the mood. Well, you make yourself, If you have to drink a Coca-Cola, when I was doing theater, I did 2 very demanding theater shows within the last year and a half. And it took 5-hour energy drinks and Coca-Colas and a lot of work because it's exhausting.
Yeah.
But the reward is very big.
Yeah.
Doing the work, receiving the applause. It's just very rewarding work. But yeah.
But it is hard work. I know I was on set for CSI Las Vegas, and we're there for 14 hours for a 30-second clip, if not.
And you think about the overtime.
Right.
I did a CSI where I was like, it's 2 a.m, and I'm like, cha-ching,
Right.
cha-ching. Oh, yeah. Take a book. I mean, it is hard work.
It is.
And I think people are under the impression, number one, that actors make a lot more money than we do. Now we have all these low-budget movies that pay as much as a housekeeper in Los Angeles makes in one day.
Right, if not less.
And exactly. And
Yeah.
internet, which because it's still relatively new, it also pays very little. But yeah, I mean,
Go out there and
we are extremely fortunate when you do book those guest starring roles or even co-starring roles on TV. If you have to wait 6 or 8 hours, we did a lot of waiting on Three Amigos. A lot of waiting. You know what? Take a book, you make a lot of good friends,
Yeah.
and you're making money. It's better than sitting at home.
Where do you see yourself in the future in the industry?
Well, one of the things, because I do see that the market is finally opening up to bilingual, to accepting Spanglish and bilingualism. And I feel I'm in a very fortunate position because I am fluent in Spanish and I'm fluent in English. And one of the things that I would love to do is to get a spokesperson job. And the other one would be a sitcom, a television gig. I am very good at working. I like to go to work. I am not very good at waiting, 3 or 4 days without auditions or without the phone ringing. I'd rather be exhausted and overwhelmed. But I like security and I like going to a job every day. So if anybody's listening, sitcom, hello. Girls is one of my new favorite shows on HBO, and it does not have any Latino representation. So hopefully.
What are you currently working on? I know you guys do the Let's Talk episodes.
We do Hola LA. Now it's Hola LA with
okay.
KCBS, KCAL. We have a commitment to continue doing the show. Our first English language talk show with Latina hosts. Okay. I just finished a mini novela called Sinvergüenza, which is wonderful because, again, we did it in English and Spanish.
Nice.
So it was great because they had to cast actors that were fluent in both languages.
You mean tell me Ben Affleck can do the Spanish?
Ben Affleck cannot do it, Mr. White Dude. Oh my goodness. So I just booked a film, but I'm not at liberty to talk about it yet. And I'm still doing voiceovers and commercials.
And so how do people get a hold of you or check out your bio and see everything that you've been working on?
IMDb is probably the best source. I really like IMDb. You have all the information on there. But I also have a website. If you Google Dyana Ortelli, you will find a lot of stuff about me.
A lot of stuff. You know,
even some of the posts that I put on Barbara Walters' wall. Hello, Barbara. When are we going to see a Latina on The View? You know I've posted on your wall.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you worked in corporate, you know, usually in corporate they say keep your resume to one page. With everything that you've done, there's no way you can keep that on one page.
No, after a while you start deleting the older stuff or whatever, but then you start adding, you know, and now there's internet projects. You know, I did on All My Children, but those were more my most recent ones. And I also did a small independent film called A Very Merry Christmas that will be released on television next year, or this year, 2013.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, you've definitely, you know, put a dent in the industry itself. You've been in it for a long time. With the frustration, you know, a lot of people probably would have walked away, but you're definitely an example to the Latino community as far as sticking to, you know, your guns, speaking up, and doing something about it. Once again, Dyana, thank you very much for taking the time and sitting down with me and sharing your story with
my pleasure,
more than anything, the Latino youth. You know, especially those that are trying to get in the industry. You definitely have set, you know, the way for a lot of us that are, you know, trying to break through and all that. And you're definitely our voice as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I think Latino youth are in a wonderful, very privileged position right now. The world is just starting to open up for them.
You know, currently we have 250 Latino mayors in the country.
Really? I didn't know that.
We have 250 mayors. So, like I said, you know, I said earlier, if we already put a dent in the political arena, we could definitely do
Every
that.
TV show on TV should have a Latino mayor. How's that?
There you go. Even better. Once again, everyone, this is your host, Stubborn for Life with Urban Melody TV. My guest is Dyana Ortelli. You guys can go ahead and Google her. I'll definitely put her links as well in the description. So thank you for tuning in. You can go to www.urbanmelodyproduction.com or just go to YouTube and Google Urban Melody TV. Thanks.
See you soon.
It's not an attitude, homie, it's a way of life. They say I'm stubborn for life. They say I'm